Kirk trying to win it to Thielen, caught at the 5.
I got 3 words for you. You like that?
No!
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Skull Network. My name is Nick, and welcome back to the weekly NFL picks on the channel. This marks week number 14 of the NFL season. That means we have 4 weeks left to go. Let's not waste any time. There are no teams on bye this week, so let's get right into the picks. Starting off with Thursday Night Football, we have the Patriots against the Los Angeles Rams, and the Rams are coming off a big win, riding a high after beating the Arizona Cardinals and getting that much closer to possibly securing up the NFC West. Now, the Patriots, they do have a shot in this game, don't get me wrong, but I just believe that the Rams are going to be fighting extra hard in this situation to eventually, hopefully, win the NFC West. So in that case, I'm going to be taking the Rams. Now moving on to the Sunday games, we're going to start off with the Arizona Cardinals and the New York Giants. Now, while it was impressive that the Giants were able to beat the Seattle Seahawks, I don't see them fighting again with a team like the Cardinals, especially now that they are fighting to get back into the playoffs and that the Vikings have taken them out of that 7th spot. And I really don't see Kyler Murray matching up poorly against a quarterback like Colt McCoy, even though he matched up pretty well last week against Russell Wilson. That being said, I'm going to be taking the Arizona Cardinals in this one. Now we're going to move on to the Houston Texans and the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears have now lost, I think, 6 in a row here, and until they can prove to me that they can win a game in the NFL, I can't pick them, so I'll be taking the Houston Texans. Next, we're going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs and the Miami Dolphins, and while the Dolphins have been playing very well, the Chiefs have obviously been playing much better, they have better weapons, and all that jibber jabber, but most importantly, now that the Steelers have finally gathered a loss, the Chiefs are going to be fighting extremely hard to now fight for that number 1 seed and that playoff bye. And with that being said, the fact that the Chiefs are obviously just the better team in general, I will be taking the Kansas City Chiefs. Now we're going to move on to one of the toilet bowls this week. This is the Dallas Cowboys and the Cincinnati Bengals, and in this case, I just don't see the Bengals really winning with Brandon Allen at QB. I understand that he almost beat the Vikings last year, if you remember him in Denver, but at the same time, the Cowboys are still in the fight for the NFC East. As weird as it sounds, as bad as their record is, but I think Andy Dalton comes out and he has a really good game against his former team, and I think Dallas gets the win here. Now we're going to move on to the Minnesota Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now with this one, these teams are both fighting for playoff seeding. The Vikings, if they win this, will jump into the 6th seed, and Tampa will fall into the 7th seed. Now, if the Vikings lose, it's all going to depend on what teams below them do, but the Vikings are fighting incredibly hard. Tom Brady is coming off a bye, but he's also coming off 2 losses. So I do feel that there is a major chance for the Vikings. Kirk Cousins has been playing extremely well, one of the better quarterbacks in the league over the last 5 weeks, and the team has come back and won 5 of their last 6. I find it hard to see the Vikings losing with the current situation that they're in, so I'm taking the Vikings. Now we're going to talk about the Tennessee Titans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now this game is always really weird. They usually have it on Thursday Night Football, and it's never a great game. The Titans almost pulled off an incredible comeback against the Browns last week, and the Jaguars just continue to find ways to lose. I mean, they had that game pretty secure for the most part against the Vikings, but obviously we know what happened there. And while Derrick Henry didn't look as dominant as I expected from last week, I just don't think that with the position that the Titans are in, still fighting for the AFC South title, that they'll be, taking their foot off the pedal at all. I think Derrick Henry has a bounce back game here, and I do think that the Titans handle the Jaguars pretty easily. Now we're going to talk about the last of the Sunday noon games. This is going to be the Denver Broncos against the Carolina Panthers. Panthers are coming off a bye, so they should be well rested, but the Broncos surprised me. Even though they lost, they proved that they can play with high caliber teams like the Chiefs. Now, are they going to be doing that week in and week out? More than likely not. But I just think that there is a possibility for this to be, is this technically considered an upset? Can someone let me know? For some reason, I like the Broncos in this one. Now we're going to move on to the mid-afternoon games on Sunday, starting off with the Colts and the Raiders. And the Colts, they still have their top-ranked defense. Offense hasn't been the greatest thing ever. Remember, the Raiders almost just gave the Jets their first win. Now, did they? No. But were they one play away, and was it extremely lucky? 100%. And I think that the Colts and that defense is going to be able to shut down Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs if he's even back, and that entire Raiders offense pretty well. And just that fact that they almost lost to the Jets gives me very little confidence in them. So for now, I'll be taking the Colts. Now we're moving over to the Jets and the Seahawks, and while the Jets almost pulled off that win, like I just said, and the Seahawks, as I said earlier, took that loss to Colt McCoy and the Giants, this isn't going to happen 2 weeks in a row. Russell Wilson will bounce back and probably have a field day with this Jets defense, and I don't know if the Jets are going to win a game. Now that they came so close, it just seems like one of those things where this is about as close as they're going to get. So in that case, I'm going to easily pick the Seahawks here. Now we're going to move on to the Green Bay Packers and the Detroit Lions. And with this one, the Packers are well in contention for that number 1 seed in the NFC playoffs. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams has been an absolutely lethal combo. I mean, ask me, I'm a Vikings fan, I would know. And the Packers overall are just a better team. I understand the Lions, they played a great game against Chicago last week, ended up pulling that out and giving the Bears another embarrassing loss. And while I'd love for them to give the Packers an embarrassing loss, I just think that the Packers are fighting a little too hard for playoff seeding right now. I think the Packers are going to take this one. Next game we're going to look at is the Washington football team versus the San Francisco 49ers, and the Washington football team was able to beat the Steelers. A team with no name gave the Steelers their first loss. And the 49ers, their defense kind of got railed by Josh Allen this last week on Sunday Night Football, and it just seems like things are kind of trickling down from there. But for this one's a little bit of a toss-up, but I do see the football team actually coming out and winning this one. Maybe they'll be riding this high that they got from beating the Steelers, I don't know, but I just like them a little more than the 49ers in this one. Next, we're going to talk about the Saints and the Philadelphia Eagles, and as most of you know, Carson Wentz is finally on the bench. It's about damn time. Jalen Hurts will be getting his first career start, but it's not against the defense that you would want him to. The Saints defense is extremely dominant, and the offense hasn't slowed down much. As I said, since Drew Brees has went out, I don't see the Saints having much trouble here, even though the Eagles are technically still in the playoff race. I mean, if you want to call it that, but I have no problem picking the Saints here. Now, this game is probably the toilet bowl of the week. This is the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Atlanta Falcons, and as we know, neither of these teams have been playing great. The Chargers just lost 45-0, getting absolutely railed by Cam Newton and the New England Patriots. Falcons coming off a bye, so they're probably well rested. They just have more talent on that team. Again, this is another toss-up against two really bad teams. Justin Herbert playing great. Last week, not so much. I'm going to take the Falcons in this one. Now we're going to look at Sunday Night Football. Now this is probably the most interesting matchup of the week. This is the Steelers and the Bills, and as I've said multiple times this video already, the Steelers were handed their first loss by Washington last week, and the Bills completely railed the 49ers defense. I just don't think that the Steelers are in the position to lose this game. As great as the Bills team is, they're fighting so hard against the Chiefs. Now that they know that the Chiefs have a real legitimate shot here, I just think the defense steps up. Josh Allen isn't completely shut down, but he's not putting up 4 touchdowns again this week. And as hesitant as I am to say this, I'm gonna take the Steelers, but I would not be surprised if Buffalo pulled this one out. And finishing off with Monday Night Football, it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. Now, at the time I'm recording this is Tuesday at 6:34 p.m. The game between the Ravens and the Cowboys has not happened. I cannot give any gauge on how they perform in the Browns game based off this Cowboys game because it just hasn't happened. Sorry, guys. But the Browns are somehow 9-3. Kevin Stefanski is definitely one of the top candidates for Coach of the Year, just considering what he's done with a team like the Browns. I think we all know how the Browns have been over the last few years. It hasn't been pretty. And it just feels like forever since the Ravens have won. Now, if they win tonight, then I'm gonna sound like an idiot. But at the time I'm recording, it just feels like forever. And the Browns are genuinely a good team. It's weird to say that, but the Ravens proven that they have not been able to win lately, and not against good teams. And the Browns, like I said, they're a good team. I'm going to take the Browns here. And that is going to wrap up some really interesting picks this week. If you guys thought any of these picks were awesome, or if you thought that they were absolute garbage, please let me know down in the comments below. I love to talk football with every single one of you at every single chance that I get. If you guys are new to the channel and you just showed up, make sure you hit the button down below to subscribe. I got content coming out twice a week. I got these videos as well as recaps of every single Vikings game. So if you're into that, hit that button. If you like the video, make sure you give it a like as well. And if you want, share the video as well. No one is going to stop you. Share it with the crack dealer around the corner. Best option out there. You guys already know. My name is Nick, and this has been NFL Week 14 Picks, and I will see you guys in the recap between the Minnesota Vikings and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers coming out on Monday. Adios.